because I've been waiting forever to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mazz on Matchweek.
This is Matchweek. I'm Ardi Emini. This podcast focuses on the stories in soccer that usually go untold, the moments behind the headlines, the conversations fans have been waiting years to hear, and the realities of the game you don't always get access to. Welcome back. You were listening to...
Buddy, this is my interview.
Mazz, I don't think we're in college anymore.
We're not. This is my interview.
wait,
and
wait,
ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the return of Matchweek. Yes, the one and only Ardi Emini coming back to the podcasting landscape. And I am your host for the first, maybe not last time, but for the first time ever, somebody else is hosting Matchweek. Not just autopilot, not just Ardi out in Europe, lollyganting on a vacation, not just somebody trying to hold it down while he really hosts throughout a laptop. No. This is Matchweek with Mazz. My name is Mazz, M-A-Z-Z, and it is such a pleasure to be here. And what a comeback episode as we interview the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ardi Emini. Ardi, thank you for having me here on this platform, buddy.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in shock right now.
Yep.
Like, I was doing the intro, I'm hearing you, and I'm just like, we're back.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
Well, you're back, baby.
Because this is Matchweek! Ah! I had to do it for the one time.
Dude,
It's
been a long time coming.
Dude,
what's it been since the last episode?
So, on the airwaves, March, I'm going to give you the exact date, which is going to be nuts.
Sure.
March 15th, 2023.
That's the last time you've had an episode?
On air. Online, technically the radio finale isn't up yet.
Are you serious?
So I'm gonna
How
drop
long's the back catalog?
So the back catalog's everything done, but I held off on the radio finale for some reason, which is crazy. I wanted to wait because I initially, if you've seen the Instagram post, Match was supposed to come back last year.
Yeah, we've had some things happen since then. We'll talk about that.
And even since graduating college, a lot has been happening. Life, work, personal, you name it. So today's episode, as you all know, Mazz has taken over. He's taken charge. Because for the first episode, we can't just hop into how much I hate life being a Man United fan. We can't talk about how terrible Wolves are.
Whoa.
We can't talk about the slander on Ronaldo's name right now. We can't talk about all the good stuff we want to talk about because I've been MIA. I've been everywhere but my own show.
Yeah.
I was even on your show at one point, the Mazz and the Bads. That's no longer going on.
Yeah.
You guys gotta understand, like, this episode is not a lot of the soccer stuff that you like. I know you want to hear me ramble and rant and talk about everything and be like, yeah, let's just hear this guy in the background.
Let's be fair, Ardi, they've kind of been wondering, like, where the heck have you been, right? Because this has been a cult following that has been building. I mean, listeners in Australia, Europe, Asia, South America, North America, Canada, Mexico, like, just all over the place. Of course, I know those are countries I was giving continents. I'm just saying, this has literally grown so organically, right? Of what started from, honestly, a project in class that's at a university that has grown into a passion project, that has grown into a kid who is a history major who has completely done a 180 tombstone on his career, and the path has just been media ever since. But Ardi,
yeah, there's a lot.
It's like, where's Waldo? Where have you been?
Yeah, so I think we have to start with graduation.
Sure.
Because you just said history major, which really, you knew what happened. You were seeing me in the I'm about to freak out.
I know
type way,
but the people don't know.
So here's what happened, right? So as you all know, Match Week technically started October of 2021. Technically, because that was when we were doing podcast production with, shout out, the mentor, the one, the only, Annabella Poland. You know what I'm saying, right? We got to give the shout out to Annabella. And the show started there. And fun fact, I don't know if people know this, it was supposed to be called Pitchside Daily.
Thank God they shot that.
You
want
to know what's crazy? I came with the idea, Pitchside Daily, I'm going to do for the class, blah, blah. No joke. The day we're supposed to do our proposals with, like, Annabella and a whole bunch of industry friends she brought in, like, worked Sirius XM, whatever. the day I'm supposed to be proposing Pitchside Daily,
Mm-hmm.
Reeve HD, Theo Baker, two big UK YouTubers announce they're releasing a podcast. Can you guess what it's called?
Pitchside.
Pitchside. One of the bigger footballing YouTube channels now for like football podcasts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, damn it, blah, blah, blah. So like at first I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be the first one present. I'm gonna show everyone up. Then it's like, I gotta make sure I somehow end up last. There's not enough time. So I can come back the next day and fix this. And I lucked out like no tomorrow. Got that all done, which is crazy. Just a little sidebar story. I thought y'all would appreciate that. But let's talk about Montclair State. Love the people there. Absolutely. Like I've met people like you, our mentors, the people who've taught us a lot, right? Great people. Institution, I would personally no longer proudly say I'm a Montclair State alumni because of how I got done by.
You are an alumni.
I am, but I'm not proud to be an alumni.
Does this have to do with the major situation?
Yes. So what happened was, the reason why I told that 2021 story is because prior to that semester, I was supposed to be a history teacher. That was my plan. Originally, it was going to be a cop or a lawyer. I wanted to work in helping people. And then I didn't like the fact that I could have control over someone else's fate. Is that a crazy way of saying it? Like, if I catch one person making just a simple mistake, let's say, like, prime example, like a kid is late for a final, speeding down a highway.
Sure.
Doesn't realize how fast he's going. If you pull that kid over, only 18, 19, let's say he's going 90 to 55 on Route 10, and we all know how Route 10 can be. That kid gets license suspended.
Yeah, shout out Jersey.
Shout out
For those of
Jersey.
you that don't know, of course, like Ardi, you have, the one thing that I've always loved about you is that you never realize just like who you're talking to in terms of an audience, because you keep it so conversationally, like friendly tone, as if it's like, just two buddies, as it is right now, two buddies having a conversation. But buddy, this is an international show technically.
Yeah, I know.
So
it is
people
crazy.
that have not been to New
explain
Jersey,
this.
it's basically just a 2-lane highway that goes both directions. And to be speeding down that would be absolutely ludicrous, just because there's no room really to maneuver.
Exactly. So, like, and in my mind, I thought, wow, like if I was that cop, you're pulling that kid over, right?
Sure.
And obviously, you have to punish him. But then, if you do that, you're ruining his family's insurance. You're ruining his chance of getting a job because now he can no longer drive. Like all those factors. Even if you were a lawyer, like what if I became a defense attorney, or if I became
you messed up the case,
and
right?
I became a DA, like a district attorney. Like what if I got the wrong guy off? What if I put the wrong person in jail? Like I felt like that kind of power morally I couldn't handle.
Sure.
And like granted there was past stuff of like when I was doing all the public safety stuff and field trips we went on in certain places in Washington, I'll say, of certain 3-letter agencies and testings and stuff that put me on a shout for, but I was like, morally I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought next best thing, what's another way I can help people? I could be a teacher. What's a topic I really liked that got me through high school? Because I wasn't a big fan of high school whatsoever. History. Imagine being the dope history teacher who will challenge you with assignments, prepare you for college, but isn't rude. You know what I mean? Isn't like stuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And then going through life, graduated from CCM, got my associate's history teaching education, went to Montclair, was doing my teaching hours, was working in Newark schools, like in the middle, not like Newark tech schools where everything's nice, like Newark, New Jersey. No, like literally in the middle of ghetto schools where it's K-8.
Whoa.
And I know what you're thinking of how I'm phrasing it, but I'm being perfectly honest. These were neighborhoods that
not the best neighborhoods.
They're inner city, they're underfunded, and that's where honestly a lot of these programs benefit from having student teachers come in.
Yeah,
because it's essentially free help, but then you're getting the experience.
Shout out the Newark schools. I have to defend them a little bit.
Oh no, I will.
do a lot of basketball. Announcing over there.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. When I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about a negative light, because inner city's funding is a huge problem.
Sure.
Right? But anyways, that's a little bit off topic, but just to give that little like context and background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then March 2020, what happens? COVID. We're in lockdown. We're doing online classes at Montclair. In the middle of doing my online classes, I get COVID. And like I know people are like, oh, COVID was a fake, it's a hoax, blah, blah. Like, dude, I was bedridden for a month because I got asthma. I got a weak immune system. I'm basically just a bitch. I'm sorry. Like, Allah made me this way, bro. I'm allergic. I got allergies. I got shit. Like, sorry.
I hear you.
That's the only time I use the language, because like it's the only layman's way I can explain that like I'm just screwed. You know what I mean? But yeah, so then I'm going through all that. I'm doing my online classes, and then literally all of 2020 is just me in the house doing online courses, blah, blah. 2021, I'm like questioning. The thought is in the back of the mind of the what if. Of what if we could do something else? What if for once we don't do something for others and for once myself, right?
Yep.
And then, continue my courses. And then 2021, I get told that I have 5 weddings to go to overseas, back in the motherland, Albania, Kuchezi. And I'm like, all right, my mom and I have to go. We have to go be respectful. It's like really, really close family. So we have to go. It's like engagements, weddings, you name it. The whole nine, right? So I'm going, hanging out with a whole group of people I've never met before. My peeps from Texas, shout out Texas peeps. And I'm like out one day, just getting some macchiatos, chilling by the water, enjoying the weather, just drinking. And then obviously I'm with a group of guys who like talk about soccer because every Albanian does, but not a lot of them actually know about it. Mm-hmm. And like I was basically like a secret fanboy for a while, like in a way where like I wasn't outwardly about it. Like my close friends, sure, but I wouldn't talk to a random person about it unless I was close with them. You know what I mean? And then I'm talking about it, whatever. And then a whole bunch of guys left besides me and one boy, Edie. Shout out Edie. And he's like, Ardi, the way how you talk about this kind of stuff, like you're passionate. Like, how can you not make a career out of this? And the moment he said that, that's where, you know how my brain works, dude. Like, once you plant an idea in my head, like, I will not be able to sleep because of that singular thought, and it will plague me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we call that OCD, my friend.
Yeah, it's OCD. It's overthinking. It's honestly, it makes me a good soccer coach. Besides the point. Just a little self-flex. But essentially, from that moment on, I'm like, do I want to finish a degree I can get done in a semester and a half, and for the rest of my life wonder, what if I took that chance? What if I wanted to do something for myself for once? Or you know what? I can take an extra 2 years and figure out the rest of my life. Where if I fail, I failed, but at least I could go back to what I was doing prior.
You went out on your own terms at least, right?
Yeah, it's like if I failed, at least I failed, and I know later on in life that I won't think, oh, I should have done that.
Sure. Then
I did it, and it went well. So that's when I decided, told my parents, they're like, what the hell? Like, they were thinking, oh, like, he's going to go for a comfortable teaching job off in the summers, guaranteed, like, 401k, pensions, blah, blah. And they're like, so you're going to gamble in industry that is a saturated market to begin with, and it's a hard market to break into for soccer in the U.S. alone. And then now you have to find that way through. It's like, it was a hard sell, especially because my parents, like, worked their butts off to put me in that fortunate situation to be able to make that choice. And I felt guilty at the time saying it because it was the first time I felt like I said something that was so selfish, you know? Where it's like, for once, I need to do me. And then, yeah, that's how this whole entire thing of Matchweek started. That's how Mazz and I became friends. That's how so much stuff happened. But, yeah, so then when I did my major change, which is why this is the whole story, I did my major change, and I was told it was going to be approved, no problem. Here's the courses for television and media with a sports and journalism concentration.
Yep.
Doing all the courses for that. And then December 2022, applying to graduate. Met all the requirements, blah, blah, make sure it's all sorted. And then I get told, I don't know what you're talking about. The major doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they took away the major, made it sports communications, but it was different curriculum, so it was going to be a little harder.
Whole new curriculum.
Shout out Kelly Whiteside. Like, they rewrote like an entire curriculum.
I have a hot take. Old curriculum's better.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I disagree with you.
I mean, I being in both of them, and respectfully, you only saying that because it was harder to switch into the new curriculum?
No, I'm saying it because from being around you guys a lot, from being around a lot of the young guys that came in when it first was introduced.
Yep.
I felt like the university did it for their own personal benefit, not for the benefit of the student, because what I was able to do at radio, right? Mm-hmm. I was only able to do because of the curriculum that was curated from sports and journalism. Taking filmmaking classes, doing certain journalist classes, being able to break down shots and scenes and doing all this stuff. Like, I didn't do the traditional, what you guys do with Red Hawk Sports Network, like running the whole TV village, running the whole entire stuff there. Like I didn't get to do that because I did the other end of it where you're creating personalities, not creating cameramen. That's where I feel that difference.
Here's where you're right and where you're wrong. Not everybody gets to be a Red Hawk Sports Network intern. That's just a fact.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't want to. You know this. Like I didn't want to whatsoever.
I had the privilege of being one.
Yeah.
Right? But you can still forge a path in sports media without having to do that, right? And that's I think that's an important lesson for everybody out there. Just because like a door that you thought would open doesn't necessarily open for you, or maybe it's a door that where it's like, hey, you don't always have to do the traditional route. Right. And when a door closes, that means that there's another opportunity or more time to do something else where you put it. Mm-hmm. So, yes, you weren't an intern, but then you did have time to create Matchweek. You did have time to create something while on this hectic schedule because you do a lot of coaching too. And we'll get into that.
And don't forget World Cup broadcast.
I was 100% able to tailor that major into how I wanted it. There's like 3-4 ways really you could do it to kind of go hand in hand. But the new curriculum, you could either kind of focus on wanting to be like an honor talent, which is what I've 110% put everything behind into. You could focus on all production stuff behind the back scenes, or you can focus on obviously writing articles. Journalism goes hand in hand with that, or social media and marketing is like the other path. So within those, like the new curriculum opened up those 4, where the old curriculum, it was so much more focused on
everything,
production more than anything,
well,
and journalism.
But I didn't feel it was production though, because I felt like it prepared me for everything else. Like, I felt like understanding
you could be well-rounded.
Well, because understanding how all this equipment we have here works. Which, by the way, it's like we're not renting any of this stuff out. This stuff I've invested in over the years. Like I know how all this works, right?
Sure.
The backdrops, the lights, and everything. Like, I know that part. I know how to write kick-ass articles because of Child the Boy Lenny, bro. I don't know if you had him as a journalist teacher.
No, I did not.
Oh, dude, Len Robbins, what a guy. But learning from him and how to write articles and how to point out stories in sports. But then also, I think genuinely for me, the fact that we were able to do what we did for sports radio.
Yep.
To me, and it's like, look, obviously I didn't do RHSN because personally I don't care about Montclair sports.
Sure.
Division 3, like, cool. Like, I send kids to Division 3 for college. Like, Montclair is honestly a high-end school for NJAC. I'm not knocking them on that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I just didn't care.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, cool. Like, if I'm going to graduate, people are going to see me covering college sports that I was at college at. How does that really translate, in my personal opinion? Because it's like, in my mind, wouldn't the industry prefer seeing me either develop covering the modern game as it is now, or wouldn't it prefer me being able to cover the modern game as well as I've been throughout college and being impressed that I can still even grow from that?
So I think it all depends on viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
And what you're trying to accomplish. Because you look at John Edmond, who was covering Montclair State, left Montclair, then started covering Kane, working a little bit behind the scenes with the Brooklyn Nets. But it was those calls at Kane and Montclair that got him noticed eventually to the G League, to the WNBA, and now just called his first NBA game on WFAN radio. So it all depends on the path. And like, there's no right path. And Ardi, you've taken such a unique one, and I want to dive into that more, right?
Let's do it.
Of course, they didn't let you go into your major. So like, talk to me in the major of, just full-blown transitioning over into
sports comm.
Exactly. So what is the emotions that you're feeling in that moment when they tell you, hey, no, you can't do this, even though you've already been really involved in other aspects of sports media on campus?
I felt like I failed. Like, I felt like I let my parents down, because it's like they took this gamble on me. Like, because the biggest thing I heard growing up, and this stuck with me, it's like one of the few things, like when I was very, very young, that stuck with me. I remember my dad coming home working third shift at Farmland Dairies, like local factory in Jersey. It was his only way to get a job because he didn't finish his college degree. Working up through there, he comes home from the third shift. He's coming home at 6 a.m. I'm getting up for elementary school, and I see my dad. I'm so excited, but he's so tired. And he looks at me, and he's like, Biddy, please, one day, do a job that you love so you don't have to suffer. And for some reason, that just stuck. Like, that message just replays in my head nonstop ever since. It's like, I feel like it's genuinely one of the moral foundations I've built myself on. So it was at that point, it's like I took the risk. I did what they said, and I did all the courses. I did everything right, and yet somehow I'm not graduating with what I'm supposed to graduate with, even though people in that same graduating class with me were, because they were freshmen enrolled in that, not someone transferring from county college coming in automatically as a junior trying to enroll in that with a different degree. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt that's where I sort of was bereaved.
I think it's rough because looking at it from like an administration side, I'm strictly playing devil's advocate.
Oh yeah,
on
which
this
you
one.
should. 100%.
You know, where it's like you did come in basically with an associate's degree, already had the career path like set, and it's like to look at you and be like, dude, we're gonna let you just go back and redo all this. Like that would feel like a money grab to extend
the 2 years because my gen eds were done. Because if I have my associates, they can't make me.
So
retake
another
gen
2
eds.
years when you're gonna graduate right now, like it's kind of hard.
Which was just like frustrating because I couldn't even get a minor. I couldn't get anything. I couldn't get a journalism minor. I couldn't get a communication. I couldn't get nothing.
Yeah, and plus I'm pretty sure classes were pretty filled at that point as well. Like the entire sports landscape at that university has just transcended. Like there's so many kids now than ever. Like I felt like there was a lot when we were there.
And it worries me a little bit though, dude.
Sure,
it does worry me because we're struggling right now. Like, let's be honest. Like, the sports industry is a very, very tough industry.
Sure.
And I feel like we get sold hopes and dreams.
I think that's any major.
Yeah, which I agree. I agree. Yeah.
There were a lot of people that I've met along the way where I think just getting the degree should have been good enough for them, and that should earn you a job.
Yeah.
And for anything, like anybody that's out here, like knocking this platform, right? Or just anybody in media doing anything, whether it's the little TikToks, the YouTube, like, dude, this is such a grind, and there's no money that comes at the base level of it, you know?
Because even with Matchweek, we spoke about it, right? Globally, worldwide, we hit 25,000 listeners and 20,000 followers. Like,
how much money did you make off that?
Zero. Because you understand.
How much money did you spend investing into this?
If I showed you some statements of certain things, you would look at me and be like, how are you surviving right now? How are you staying?
And I'll tell you how. Passion.
Yeah.
And that's this entire industry is a grind. And then there's always a saying, hurry up to wait. Also, which was literally today, you know, nothing ever goes as planned. You have everything planned out, God, and then the setup just takes forever. You're looking for equipment that you thought that you had.
Phone calls.
It's also survival of the fittest of who can outwork who and who can last the longest until the right person comes along for an opportunity, or you forge your own path, which I've always appreciated with you here. And that story with like your dad, it's touching, you know, of a man just grinding, trying to give his family a better life. But I also think it's validating in the fact of, you didn't get your major, but you did have that moment with your pops on the final episode, right?
Yeah.
And to get those flowers and to talk about just the good times and what you've built. And then after college, you know, you were still, you know, recording episodes. Why weren't you necessarily releasing?
So here's the thing. So let's talk about the timeline. November 2022 is when all the 10 episode dropped, right? The 10 episode dropped for World Cup 2022. That was the plan. We held off for the 10. Well, I would say we as if it was a whole conglomerate. It was me, all right? Why don't I talk about myself in the third person with a we or something?
I mean, there was people that you recorded with.
Yeah, but like...
And you told them that you were going to, you know... I get why you're saying we, but it is... Let's be honest.
It was a one-man show.
It's every decision that comes with this. You might ask for advice, but you're going to do what you want at the end of the day anyway.
So I planned on doing a 10 episode drop because it's like, look, World Cup 2022 is coming. It's going to be during the winter. The times are going to be so much different where it's early in the day. People are going to need to find a way to cram information and catch up with the past few months of soccer to be able to be deemed viable to talk about it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold off. I'm going to record. We're going to do the 10 episodes on the airwave and on the air, and they did pretty well. I know the numbers. Don't ask me how I know. I know the numbers. They did well. And we're going to drop them when it's close to World Cup time, like really, really close. Like when we're like 5 days out of the first match, and before we started our first broadcast for it, like we're going to drop it. And then so we drop it, and then I post something on LinkedIn about it. It's like, oh, we got like 500 downloads, guys. It's so sick, whatever, blah, blah. And then I'm just like, I had a whole day's worth of coaching because it's like not much going on with classes sort of towards the end. I was like, I made sure to get ahead of all my classes. I knew that when we're going to do the World Cup broadcast, it was going to be intense, a lot of work, a lot of games, and a lot of stuff going on. So I gave my press a heads up, like, hey, look, I'm getting all my work done in advance. Be upset with me. I don't care. Like, this is going to be make or break for me. And so I dropped it, whatever, and a couple days passed, and then I get a text, I think it was from you. We were like, hey, Ardi, like, it seems like for some reason, like, I think you told me, like, the podcast got randomly recommended to you on Spotify. It was something like that. I remember you telling me about it. And I was like, what recommendation? How did I get a recommendation?
No, you hit my algorithm.
Yeah, I was like, how did I hit an algorithm? I thought, like, my show only got, like, 500. And then later that night.
I know exactly how you hit.
So, like, later that night, I go home after coaching. And I open up my laptop at the time. I didn't have the PCs I have now and everything, the PC overlord. No, I'm joking. No, so I open up the laptop. I'm like entering my sign in for my RSS feed, and then I see it, and I broke down in tears, bro. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I genuinely couldn't believe it because it's like, dude, like, I'm just some guy in the middle of New Jersey, like some random Albanian who has propaganda for Albania and Man United. Like, come on. Like, let's be real.
Oh, it's propaganda.
It's propaganda. It's propaganda. But
it's especially Man United propaganda.
But don't get me wrong. I do call my own self out for some stuff.
Sure.
Like, sometimes it's like, it's not rage bait, but it's like, I want the dialogue to happen. That's what I'm trying to force to happen, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how is this happening? Like, I remember I called you. I called my best friend. And then I called somebody who ended up in my future, which I didn't expect to call in that moment. For some reason, my brain said to call that person. And I'm just in tears. And I'm like, I'm crying on mom's arms. I can't believe this, bro. I know I'm probably going to sound like whatever, like a baby or something. But like, dude, like the fact that it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, imagine putting so much work into something. And then for once you finally get appreciated for that work. Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't, it just felt like just a huge, huge weight was lifted. It's like this gamble was for a reason. Like, I felt like somebody was supporting me behind all this.
Now, hear me out, right? This is when match week is feeling validating, right?
Yeah.
Of like taking off. And we know the success that has come with it. I mean, people that are listening to this have been rocking with you for a while. With all the success that you had, you graduated. Granted, it's not the degree that you want.
Yeah.
But now there is more time. There's a relationship that happens. There's coaching that's still going on. But there's no work that has to be done university-wise, right? You already have the college degree. So one would think that there is more spare time. But with spare time and, post-college, there's responsibilities. And there's a culture shock that comes with graduating that nobody ever prepares you for. But what happens afterwards of just banking episodes but no more drops?
Well, the problem was I got backed up because of World Cup 2022. Like, people don't understand, out of the 65 games we covered 57. And I think I wasn't only there for one game.
Sure.
One game.
I mean, we had kids leaving, finals to come do coverage for
Tommy Truberg, man. He told the story, I think, on Matchweek once. Tommy Truberg.
He's a trooper. He's
a trooper.
He's still coaching sports.
I know.
Right now.
He's still. It's Tommy, bro. What a guy. I mean, he at Sirius XM for a while.
I don't know if he's still there. I know he was at Sirius XM working something with their NBA shows.
Yeah, he
but
was like
ironically, he's coaching basketball for St. Mary's in Rutherford with Brian Gascione, just one of my favorite programs.
By the way,
cover.
I finally met a Balkan that's like a true Balkan representing the country. He's Croatian. I finally met a Balkan that like truly represents the Balkans, like for once. That wasn't like me or Dayon or somebody. I was like, yes, another psycho.
Tommy's the man, dude. But
so honestly, it all started from there. Because I just felt so overwhelmed of trying to get all that done, because at that time, like, we were essentially rebuilding the sports program for WMSC without officially having roles yet.
Yeah, kind of.
Like,
I mean, listen, COVID messed up the whole world, and I don't think that we could take full credit for necessary. Like shout out Jack Bartek. Like,
100%. Yeah, he was
held it down.
Yeah,
and then
because we saw what happened when we left. Like, we saw everything crumble, and we had to figure out how to put it back together.
Yeah, I mean, we just had no team. It felt like so, and then me, you, and Cam, like all the effort that just went between like the four of us. It was a lot. And then you're telling us this World Cup idea, and we're like, Ardi, like we can't even figure out how to get broadcast on like a steady pace right now. Like, how are we gonna cover this?
I told you I got it.
You know, you did figure it out, and I will give it to you. And I'm not gonna lie, we did doubt you because I was like, dude, we're struggling to get any form of
dude. In my mind, it's
content
just like,
that's not live games.
Yeah, but you understand when it comes to the World Cup during the winter, this will never happen again.
Well,
I don't think World Cup during the winter will ever happen again.
Well,
so we had to capitalize on
we
it.
have to give flowers for Annabella Poland for
100%.
You know, just one, I think seeing, like, trusting in the work that we, like, with me and you without official titles of just, hey, these are the ideas that are going on around here, and just, hey, Aunt, can you go talk to her real quick? We're going to do this. Or you just stopping her in the hallway of, like, or it's knocking on the door of just, like, hey, we just have, like, all these ideas. And to her, who, let's just be honest, not a sports person, very much a music person,
unless
loves it's Argentina football, not a sports person. So to look at us and be like, yeah, sure, we'll give this a platform, and whatever ideas you guys have, we're just going to keep on allowing you guys to do coverage. And whenever something arises or there's pushback, to always have our back, like, that was awesome. But I think that was also, I hope a testament to the work that we were putting in and the trust that she could put in us.
I think also I already had proved my share when I was in her podcast production class. Like,
sure.
That's why Matchweek started, right?
Was I on the first episode of Matchweek?
You were on the second episode.
Second. Should have been the first. It was awesome.
Yeah, we technically hadn't met yet. That's why. Like, we were in the same class. We were talking, but we didn't fully.
What a
meet.
class!
I know. That's a story.
Yeah, we'll tell that another day.
Maybe never.
So listen.
No, but hold on. So let me finish, right? So I think honestly, like, me pulling my weight in that class and me honestly telling Annabella from August, like, it's not like I told her like
last second.
It's like from August, I'm like, hey Annabella, this will work. Hey Annabella, this will work. Like, I followed up, and I showed her the proposal. I showed her the whole game plan I had. I made a spreadsheet. Like, you know how retentive I get. Like, you know how organized I have to be when it comes to stuff like this. Like, I made a full-blown plan, proposal, whole 9, planning out that whole month. And
now, my question is, did you burn yourself out too much because of that project?
That project, Matchweek, classes,
mm-hmm.
working 2 other jobs on top, 3 actually. So I was doing West Orange, the training company, and then working at a restaurant, and then also working radio, and then also taking classes, and also being interested in a girl is a whole other job on its own, right? Yeah. So it's like all that stuff put together, like I was definitely fried. I told myself, like, look, let me get through the World Cup. Just give me a month to relax in the winter. It'll get done. Like, I know I can get it done. And then, like, it was just like piling on. I made more commitments in certain ways with certain things, and then
now the whole life just gets, twisted and turned. Not necessarily for the worse or bad. It was just a different path. And I remember at that time you having another conflict arose because you have this history degree. You know you're really not going to use it, but the way that you could use it is if you focus on coaching. So you could still be around the game. You could still, have that competitive fix and still be around soccer. But you were going to do it through coaching. I remember saying to you, like, dude, you got to make a choice because this being half in is not going to work either way.
Because I had to build a pedigree. Like, we've seen in how it is right now, especially for how many years we've both been post-grad, you don't get hired for soccer in America unless you're ex-professional or you've been a journalist for 30+ years, right? Like,
it's still growing. It's very competitive.
It's very, very hard to break in because a lot of times first dibs is going to the professionals, ex-professionals. It's first dibs for them every time.
So with that, you looking at, because I remember you were applying a bunch of different media jobs. It just wasn't necessarily going your way.
Yeah.
I know eventually Red Bulls would be involved down the line, shout them out, but still you were looking for jobs at the time. And I remember like you really leaning into coaching, and you ended up taking even a high school job being a girls coach. Talk to me about being at St. Elizabeth's at that time.
Oh, the Academy of St. Elizabeth. I was there for 2 seasons from the fall 2023 and then fall 2024. And I remember the opportunity came up. Shout out Besmir. Gave me a call. He was working at FDU at the time. And he said, hey, like, we just got word from the AD, who's also the head coach for the women's team at Fairleigh Dickinson University, not Teaneck, Florham Park. And then was like, hey, like we need the high school that's right next door that's on the same campus as St. Elizabeth College, and they need a varsity high school coach. Like, do you know anybody? And Bez texts me like, hey, I have an opportunity for you. Call me ASAP. So I call him, gives me the whole rundown, and I was like, yeah, I'll apply. Like, let's see what happens. And then I meet up with the AD at the time. I mean, like, she's a really good AD, but she's not AD anymore, so I don't know if I should name drop, but we'll say K. K was the homie.
Okay, so K's AD.
Yeah, so K's the AD, and like I went through a first interview on Zoom with her and the financial advisor at the time, which I don't know why, whatever. Okay.
Probably had to try to figure out how much you were gonna cost.
Well, don't get me started on that. The thing is, so like they're breaking down whatever, blah blah. Like they're really grilling me because the program was really mistreated. Like the people that were taking over it prior, like the 7 years prior to me taking over, it was an absolute mess. Like the girls were mistreated. They weren't trained properly. They weren't backed enough. Like they weren't given the faith that you'd think a Catholic high school girl would have of belief in themselves. So when I'm going through the interviews, they're talking to me. And when the AD called me, she's like, look, we're not supposed to go out of network. Like we're really not. But for some reason, like you just make sense because when you're saying everything and when you're talking about a plan and a breakdown and how to help, you're saying it with all sincerity. You weren't saying it because you just wanted a stipend. So I think that's sort of what got me in the door. And that's where we sort of got that success for the first year. Like those first year girls, I mean, like they're the way how I explain it is like they're all like my little sisters. Like those girls, if I ever get like an email or something, like if they ever hit me up like, hey coach, blah blah, can we chat or need help with something? They're in a heartbeat. Like that first year with all those girls was great, phenomenal. They went from conceding it was like 185 goals on average. Like conceding
for the season,
like for per season, conceding, which means like goals scored against you.
Yeah, I understand how it works, buddy. I'm just stunned of that's a lot of goals. Dude.
Yeah, because they were thrown in a conference where it made no sense. Like they should be in that conference,
Yeah,
and then
especially when the average soccer match, even in high school, is ending like what 4-3, maybe 2-0.
It depends on placements and divisions, so it could either be a close game where it's like,
well, listen, 130. Goals scored and what is it, like a 20-game season?
No, so the season prior when I took over, they conceded again. 185 was on average. So the year prior, they only scored 11 goals and they conceded 135.
In how many games?
In an 18-game season.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
That's really rough. So
when
you
I
take over an entire program that is
the black sheep no one cares about.
Not necessarily a program. It's just there.
It's basically a rec soccer program at that point. And then I came in, and then I remember I had the first meeting with the seniors of the team, and then I had the first meeting with the team in general and the parents, and I told everybody, look, I have a 5-year plan. They're all like, what do you mean? I'm like, look, I'm not here just to make easy money and just come in and do the bare minimum. Like, I want to help. Because like for me, I related to it personally. Like I remember being in high school and having a coach who disrespected me, didn't like me, belittled me, told me how I wasn't good enough, never properly gave me the minutes I earned. Like, granted, I'm not out here saying, like, oh, I could have been, like, D1, my coach didn't like me. Like, no. Like, dude, like, I was, like, I could have been a squad player, like, 15, 20 minutes a half, give someone the break, put the minutes in, press, score a goal or two, had it in me. And then I think that experience made sure that if I got a job like that they were given every possible benefit.
So when you were going to take the job, right? Because I know you well enough to, when you say that you're going to do something, you have to go full-fledged.
Yeah.
Were you already thinking, like, when you were going to take on this opportunity, did the podcast ever be in the back of your mind? Because there's no way you're going to be able to handle this.
Yes, because we tried doing the live streams. We had the office space. We were trying to do it. I was trying to sort it out. And it was just, there was a lot of other background stuff on top of that, which we'll go into later. But it's like, it's tough. It's tough to be around everywhere all the time when people need you. And it's hard to be a high school coach. It's hard to then go work with your training company and then work with club teams and then worked a restaurant job that I was miserable at.
So
And it was all a lot. And it's like you just don't know what route to go and what to pick. Like it's sort of like you're lost in a tornado.
So
it's crazy
was
to say.
coaching more of a comfort? So already, I mean, you just mentioned the training. I know you are involved in 3 teams, like on like a daily basis, still currently, plus another 3 teams that you help out with when they call upon you, which is quite frequently. You know, so that's 6 teams right there. Plus, you know, managing just a regular home life, plus a high school team that you are at the helm of this time. Dude, that's a ton of things for one person to manage. I mean, even one of those things. Why commit to so much?
One, money. Like, look, don't get me wrong. The high school job didn't pay me a lot. I'll be perfectly honest. It was only $6,000 stipend.
Yeah.
Where there's coaches in my conference, same conference, are making $15,000.
But you just said that you didn't do it for, like, the plan wasn't built for the money, because clearly you put in way more.
But the money still helped.
You put in more hours than the money would ever pay you, right? So
yeah,
where did the conscious decision come from of, hey, you know, my podcasting is taking a back seat, but I am going to go full-fledged and, you know, lean into soccer still through the coaching aspect?
It's just, we spoke about it. Financially, it was a choice I had to make at the time, but also it's something I had to learn.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn how to develop a team, how to take players that were undervalued and not treated right and make them valued players.
Yeah.
I had to learn about the game more with the younger kids I work with. I had to learn the game more about the club team I work with. I had to learn the game more about some of the volunteer hours I do at colleges. Like, I had to learn. I had to learn in every aspect possible. At that time, I felt like I understood soccer media very well, where I didn't feel like I needed to learn more. Maybe it was cocky of me. I felt like as soon as I was watching anything, whether it was like CBS Golasso, whether it was ESPN FC, whether it was anything else, it's like I felt like I had it in the bag. Like if I'm watching Sky Sports, I understand. I know the rundown. I know the routine. I know what they want to do. So in my mind, it's like, okay, I have the media stuff in the bag. Now, what can I do to differentiate myself from everyone else? I can get my professional coaching licenses. I can train teams. I can learn what makes a soccer player tick even more than just my own playing career.
Now, you chose a very interesting lane, which can be very good depending on how you play it, or can be really tough.
Catastrophic.
It's really tough, right? Because you're not just going into sports media where I'm looking for NBA, NFL, boxing, UFC, you name it, right? Like there's multiple lanes that like if it came calling, I'd be there. No, sir. It has to be all one lane, all eggs in one basket. It has to be soccer/football media, right? Now, when I first saw you doing the show and seeing it grow, see you get better as a host and more knowledgeable with like the sport. Not that you weren't knowledgeable to begin with, but getting more comfortable in finding your skin.
I also wasn't as naive, I would say. I was as naive about the sport.
What do you mean?
Because there's a naivety when you're watching from when you're a younger kid, and then 16, you're like, oh, I sort of get the idea of the professional game. And then honestly, around that time at college, when I was like 22, that's where you sort of realize like that, I'm going to say it, excuse my language, oh shit. That oh shit moment of like, wait, there's more to this. There's more of this people aren't seeing. Why am I not taking advantage of that?
So, but when you talked about it in those early episodes, especially those early episodes, there was always a hesitancy, it seemed like, of because I'm not a higher coach, which like if you were doing that, like still doing the show, which is I'm personally excited to see you come back now because of all the credentials, all the time coaching. Like back then, like you were coaching, but you were just getting like your feet wet. Now, like you're making the schedules. You are the main man for like certain teams, right? And you have a high school, you know, experience under your belt where there was always this hesitancy of like, I know what I'm saying. I know I'm right, but I know when somebody comes and checks me, I don't have the credentials. And I am waiting for that moment. But, like, even though everything that you said is right, but let's be honest, every time somebody says something, the question is always, who the hell is that person and what makes them eligible to say this? Now, me, I've been covering a lot of games. I watch a lot of sports, and I can stand by any opinion. It is what it is. But if an NFL player per se were to turn around and be like, "What's your level?" Yeah, my man, you can play the game at a higher level than me, and I will always acknowledge that. But you can't debate the game higher than me. I've made sure of that with the hours that I put in, and I feel like now with you getting these coaching credentials and still climbing that ladder, do you think that it's going to make you more comfortable in backing your opinions?
I hate to say this because I don't want to make it seem like it's a superiorist point of view.
Mm-hmm.
With soccer, you can't get away with that. With soccer, it's very much what you do validates what you can say. So it's very rare people like that can get away with it. I want to think of a really good example, like Mark Goldbridge. He's the guy that streams everything Man United nonstop 24/7. And the only reason why people have backed him for so long and so long and so long, and he's grown so much is because, one, he's a native in England. Huge, huge benefit. You go to all the games. You see everything. You're a native. You're close. Two, he's been online for so long, and he has the ability to check himself and admit faults, but also call stuff out when he needs to be called out, that he can be backed. And also, it's just the way how he's portrayed himself, where if people want to say any rude connotations towards him of the opinion he makes, they can, and he won't care because he doesn't need their validation anymore because he's grown. People care about what he says. And the issue is that where we are in the U.S. and the way how soccer is developing, and there's times where I speak to others where I get checked very easily on a daily basis when I'm coaching at work, dude. Like whether it's shout out Typhoon, love you, dude. Like Ty will see a session doing something, and I'm feeling very confident about it. He'll pull it to me. He's like, "Hey, did this right, but guess what? You messed up. Do better." And he can't because he has more experience than me. He knows more than me. For example, recently with Felician, I had a conversation with Brandon Levine, the head coach there, Division II college, turned sort of like my Saney story, but instead at a college level, he turned Felician Division II men's team from, let's be honest, a joke of a school to number 8 in the country for Division II. Like the dude's a stud, and he just got his Pro 8 license from U.S. Soccer. So when I have a conversation with him and I speak about things and he sees what I'm saying and he calls me out on it, he's right because he just gets it at a higher level. And I don't want to say like, oh, with the NFL, you can't do this, or with the NBA, you can't do this, or blah, blah, blah. I feel like the problem is that in the U.S., I'm talking about regarding the U.S., that those people that were armchair fans / half-beat journalists are now allowed more of an opinion because now it's more socially acceptable. Whereas with soccer, it's not. It's not gatekeeped. I don't want to say it's gatekeeped in the U.S. because it is growing rapidly, but your ability to give an opinion is.
Do you think that only high-end players and coaches should be the ones talking on it?
Yes and no. I think it depends. Because we can say that only ex-pros can talk, but we hear Jamie Carragher open his mouth, dude, and it's like, shut up. You know what I mean? Or it's like you'll hear some guys. I think my biggest issue is prime example ESPN FC. I used to watch it growing up in high school, late middle school. Oh, I love listening to these guys. Yeah, we're talking about soccer. Woo. And when you grow up more, you just realize these guys just talk just to talk. And it's sad to see. I'm not going to say it. There's only one person I really respect on that show. I won't say who it is. I'm going to say it. Shaka Hislop. Love that man to death. Ex-Newcastle goalkeeper. Lovely man. Played for Trinidad and Tobago too, by the way. So like, it's like when he speaks, there's a valid argument behind it. There's evidence behind it. And there's a way to prove it. When everyone else speaks, it's either pushing an agenda or they're saying it just to get you upset to say it. I feel like that's one of the biggest issues with soccer media right now in the U.S. Not internationally, because I feel like if you watch Sky Sports, like it's handled. It's not an issue. But in the U.S., it's like there's too much of because at the time, I want to say rage bait, but it's not rage bait. It's just there's too much like clickbait, virality based, like say this, we get this attention, say this, we get this attention. You know what I mean? There's too much of like, we want to pull eyes, not we want to have a conversation, which I think is a really big problem.
So for somebody that turns around, right, and somebody that's been on this ride with you and hear you talk, right, and they enjoy the show, they understand why they listen, right? And why you're talking about
Yeah.
it. But for somebody that hasn't listened, right? A new listener or somebody that's just like, oh, Artie's got a soccer podcast, what would you say to somebody that is, well, why the hell are you talking about this?
I'm talking about it because I want to engage in conversations that a lot of people ignore about when it comes to soccer. Because I think when I originally started the show, I really liked it because I was telling a story every time. And then honestly, I feel like I got burnt out from the show on radio because it no longer became a story. It became a show about headlines. Where I felt like we were able to get stories in sometimes, like shout out Jaime Grimberg, right? One of the best episodes because we had him on. We also had Daniel Robane on at one point. Being able to get guys like Steve Moncayo and Luke Seriani on and have them tell their own stories of soccer and their love for it. I felt like that's what it was meant to be. We're here to tell stories. We're here to show our love. And we're here to show our perspective, but not just our perspective just to say it, but to prove it. Like, hey, look, I've watched this match. I can break down why United tied 4-4 against Bournemouth. Because offensively, we were great. In transition, we were poor. We had Aiden Heaven, who I felt so bad for. He's really young. Can't play as a central defender in a back 3/5, depending on how you look at it, 3-4-3 inverted. And here's all the issues, blah, blah, right? By the way, when we're recording this, Ruben Amorim has been sacked. Don't worry, second episode, we're going to be talking all about Man United. It's going to happen because I'm at a boiling point. That's all I'm going to say. At a boiling point.
So,
but
that,
yeah,
though,
but
right?
it's like,
is
it's
that
just
what we can expect moving? So, because as you said, like it became a show of headlines. Do you mean in terms of like only talk about like the biggest news going on, or do you mean it just became more of a debate show? Like, what do you mean by this?
I felt like we could only just discuss topics that people wanted to hear, not that people wanted to discover. So, like, for example, when we spoke about that whole incident with Ronaldo walking down the tunnel of Man United career done under Ten Hag, right?
Yeah.
That episode needed to be done.
Sure.
Because opinions needed to be spoken about. Like, because honestly, there was a lot of slanderous stuff at the time going out about Ronaldo at the time, who was going through something very traumatic. And like, we're not going to rehash it. If you want to hear our opinions about it, go back to episode 37. It was honestly, I think it was the episode that triggered the whole entire spree of downloads and listeners. I think that episode brought a lot of people in.
Well, I think that's why you need to cover like the top things. But I get what you're saying, where it was organic grassroots of telling soccer stories, and then it was, transitioned into, your stereotypical sports radio show.
Yeah.
Here's headline, and here's the debate, and here's the opposing opinions, and that guy's an idiot, and this guy's kind of okay, that guy's smart, meaning me.
We were so good. Well, we were so good at planning ideas and debates. And I think that was the issue. It's because I felt like it got to a certain point where, all right, we know what Artie's going to say. Propaganda. United. Steven's going to come in, purposely mispronounce a name to piss off the audience. Lou's going to come in and be like, oh, no, Artie. I don't know. And then Top G, Thomas Gaffney's going to be like, yeah. And then you're going to come in, no, you're not. You're totally wrong. What are you saying? And Cafone's going to walk in not knowing a single thing we're talking about.
So
like, it got to a point where there was a beat that you could be tracked every time. Whereas
it started feeling repetitive.
Yeah, and like when we did Jaime Grimberg, it was great because we were speaking to someone who was Uruguayan but grew up in Argentina, grew up in Uruguay, like Jaime Grimberg, and we broke down the Copa Libertadores. We broke down the Sudamericana and all these competitions and what it means to the fans and how it could impact everybody and all this stuff. Whereas the next episode, it's like, oh, Arsenal's wank. You know what I mean? It's like,
so, moving forward, right, for listeners, and for those that like the debates, like, can they still expect some of that?
Look, what I want to do,
like, what's the vision for this rebrand? I don't want to say rebrand, but the revitalization of Matchweek, now in no longer confined by FCC and being on college radios, right? No longer having to make sure that everybody else's schedule is going to line up. Like, this is already out in the wild, completely on his own path. What can we expect? And is it going to be mainly solo? Is there going to be rotating guests? Is it only going to be occasional guests? What's the vision?
So here's the thing, right? So as you stated earlier, I work for Red Bull New York. And that is something I'm trying to invest myself in because, again, I'm not saying I'm there because I'm trying to learn another part of the sports industry, but it's like, again, I need to make myself better as a sports media professional, as a soccer professional. I need to learn all aspects. I've learned a lot about the coaching side, learned a lot about the sports media side, and I've learned a lot about the player side. Now I need to learn what it's like to be in the trenches with these people in a communication staff who are great people. Like, understanding what we want to push, ideas stories we want to tell. That's the big thing. Like, we want to tell stories, and I love it. Now, granted, do I want to be in communications for my whole entire life? Like, yeah, press releases till we die. No, no. But I want to learn. Like, and there's a great group of people I get to work with, and it's awesome to see them.
So
and I want to learn more.
Is the dream then?
The dream right now. So here's the thing with Matchweek. Video is not guaranteed weekly. It's not even guaranteed bi-weekly. Video is when we get to have a good sit-down conversation like this. Primarily, we will probably do maybe once a week, maybe once every other week, audio only. Send that out, post it for people to listen on the way drive if they want. I want to, from now on, if I have the opportunity to record with someone, cool, record, let's do it. If I have the opportunity to do it on my own, do it on my own. I no longer want this to feel like it's a demanded obligation. I have no other choice. That's my biggest worry. My biggest worry is that Matchweek is my only way to make it into the sports media industry. My biggest fear. Because don't get me wrong, look at what people like Dave Portnoy's done, right? Building his own little media empire. Look what Joe Rogan's done with the Joe Rogan Experience. Don't get me wrong, it'd be cool to be my own boss, but at the same time, I want to have a wife, I want to have a kid, I want to have a basic salary, I want a 401k, I want a pension. My dream is to have the dream job, but is to have the family alongside of it. Because what's the point of having the dream job if I'm on my own?
Now, within that entirety of finding yourself in different paths and still finding yourself today. There was a relationship.
Yeah.
And, you talk about demanding obligations. Not that it was, a task, but you were also trying to figure this out while trying to, attempt to build a life with a whole other person. And, and it didn't necessarily go how I think you thought it was going to go. I mean, you talked like you were on cloud nine, and then eventually, you had to make certain choices, and unfortunately no longer together, but still having to pick up the pieces that were left by that, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about those challenges while still trying to find yourself and having to rip a Band-Aid off like that. And I don't mean that's no disrespect to the partner. I'm just saying, in terms of to seeing, hey, this just isn't going how I think it should be, and to have the strength to make that decision, to even bring up the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, curveball.
I know.
Curveball. You got me, Mazz. You got me. But I mean, hey, open book. I don't care. Let's talk about it. Honestly, this show was the only way I found happiness for a while, in all sincerity, because everything else in life felt stressful. It was hard to manage, hard to be difficult with everything else, and the pressure of, hey, gotta graduate college, gotta get a job, gotta make sure that I take care of myself, maybe one day make enough to help my family and all that kind of stuff. And then met a girl, and she was, again, excuse the language, fucking fantastic. And it was so hard to believe that I could feel that way about somebody, but then maybe somebody could feel that way about me. And that was crazy. And then honestly, December 21st, 2022, got into a relationship, was not expecting it. And then when you're in that relationship and you get that cloud nine happiness, right? Because obviously, shout out to Mazz, newly engaged. So happy for you. So proud.
Thank you.
If I'm not invited to the wedding, you're dead to me.
We'll see if you make the draft.
If I don't make the draft, I'm calling your fiance myself, and we're gonna have problems. I'm gonna tell my mom on you guys. This is what I'm gonna do. You don't want to deal with my mother. Okay.
Your father might be invited.
Fair. Okay, fair.
I don't know if you'll be invited, but your father might be on that list.
That's okay. Honestly, I don't blame you. My dad is awesome. No, but it's like obviously being an Albanian Muslim, myself personally, the expectation was, Albanian Muslim, easy raps. I'll find a girl like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock it over. I'm not upset in any way. Just stupid. No, and like that was like the mindset. So I didn't really think about dating, honestly, because I don't know. For me, I don't know how it is for other people. To date someone means you're in love with them. That every moment of every day with that person you want to spend with, because that's you and them, right? And I'm not the type of guy where like I'll date to figure out if I'm like in love with that person. So
no, you fall hard.
If I date you, I'm in love with you. Like genuinely, like that's how it is. So then there was that, and then from December 21st, 2022 to December 21st, 2023, absolute bliss. Everything else after that, it felt like I'd much rather bear the loneliness than suffer in silence. Like it felt like we were trying to change each other. It felt like I wasn't good enough, and it felt like maybe I was trying to change them and all this stuff. And I just at the end of the day realized like, hey, look, like if you're with somebody, you want to give them everything they ever wanted, right? Like when my dad married my mom, he was like, hey, look, like the world's ours. Like you want it, you get it. Like that's in my mind, especially all being culture, it's how we are. Like when it comes to significant others, like when I say ride or die, it's like Dominic Toretto, I got family. You know what I mean? Like we're ride or die type of people. It is what it is. So it's like for me in my mindset, and you can tell me if I'm like stupid or whatever, but if you're with someone, you want to give them the world. You want to commit your own dreams. You want to help their dreams. And then it felt like to a point where there was no dreams anymore. So then I had to make the painful decision. I had to break it off. I had to move on. Very difficult. And that honestly bled into the rest of my life after that, because I didn't want to go back doing Matchweek because this person was sort of tied to it in a way. Won't say how. I think respect privacy was tied to it in a way. And I was trying to go into the second season of coaching the high school girls. Literally, we broke up July 31st, 2023. July 31st, 2024. What am I saying? My apologies. July 21st, 2024.
Yeah.
Next day is first day of preseason with the high school girls. So, like, how am I supposed to be Mr. I say it all the time, delusional optimist, cheery, happy-go-lucky guy for these group of girls where we're in season 2? Like, there has to be progress. Like, we have to prove to people that us qualifying for states last year wasn't a joke. Like, that we're meant to be something. And, like, he's our rock when my foundation was crumbling. Like, I had to figure stuff out. I had to figure out who I was because I felt like I lost myself in there. And it's not to the fault of the other person. I just felt like I lost myself. And it's just been difficult in that regard. But I think going through all that throughout the season with my teams and being alone for that taught me a lot. Because like I said, I would have much rather bear the loneliness than suffer in silence. And I think the solitude really taught a lot. And it made me realize that, again, the whole reason why I'm bringing the show back is because I want the show to come back. I want it to be what I want it to be. It's that selfish thought that's making a full circle comeback where it's like, why am I thinking about others? Why am I not focused on myself again? We lost the idea. So like I'm at the point right now where I'm going to win by any means necessary.
So pit stop, right?
Yeah.
Because around that time too, right? You do get an opportunity that few will ever have of doing a podcast with a former professional player.
And then we skipped over that part.
You know?
Oh,
so it's
my God,
so
man.
It's
hold on.
like for everybody that's like listening to this where it's like, wow, you know, like there's highs, there's lows. Like, dude, there's been high highs and there's been low lows. And,
wait, so hold on a second. Just clarify. We're like an hour into the episode and we have not talked about Pepito's hot take.
No, we haven't, but You know, like
what is going on?
talk to me about that opportunity.
That was
How did
nuts.
that come about? Because it made me like, I knew we had to get to it, and I saw the perfect avenue when you said of wanting to do the show and do it your way and do it, completely in control. Because of course, not that that was hard.
Yeah.
Not that it was hard to work with, because like every time you talked about it, like it was a really awesome experience. It sounded like, however, it's not in your control. You have to tailor it to somebody completely else and somebody that is a high profile name. What was it like working with the man himself in Pepito?
Giuseppe Rossi. So that all started from a cold email. I was fortunate enough to know somebody that was a friend, who was like, hey, like Giuseppe was doing this podcast, or he's thinking about doing a podcast. I sent a cold email. He replied like, hey, I have somebody else. Like, maybe we could talk more in the future. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Opportunity passed. And then that was, I think, August of 2023, right? So he's shooting it, doing whatever, blah, blah. And then January 2024 comes around, and I get email back like, hey, like, I think the person we're working with prior sort of fell through. Let's take a shot. I was like, okay, like, it's go time. Let's do it. So then at first I wasn't expecting to be on it whatsoever. I thought like I was going to be in the background, just shooting, recording, edit, do my thing. By the way, this is a little sidebar. Mazz, when it comes to audio, what am I? What am I? When it comes to audio, what am I? Come on.
What are you, Ardi?
I'm the audio king. Come on.
Audio king?
I'm the audio king, bro.
Oh, I can think of a couple of guys I'm calling first, but all right.
Nah. Come on, dude. When it comes to podcasting and audio, come on.
All right.
Don't try me.
You can have this on your show right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If it was Mazz in the midday, I would not have this.
No, I have names I'd actually be dropping.
Yeah, sure.
Some
totally.
might be triggering, but I'm not going to do that to you on
okay,
your own
thank
platform.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you. No more, no gaslighting or rage baiting things. No, but seriously. So, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna help edit, whatever, blah blah blah, produce it, do my thing, and then after he was done with the episodes, like I'd be cleaning up all the equipment, we'd be talking, whatever, blah blah, and then as we were like talking, whatever, he's like, why don't we just do this on the podcast? And I was like, if you want to, I'm down. Like, let's do it, whatever. So next episode, I come in, we're shooting, episode goes great, another one goes great, it's doing well. The reels are really doing well. Like the TikToks, like, yeah. YouTube shorts, yeah. But the Instagram reels were going insane. We had a few that were getting, I think, over 50,000 impressions within like the first couple of hours and stuff. Like, it did really well, which I was really shocked by, because I'm not saying it's not like Giuseppe can't have that pull, right? It's just the fact of that, like, from where the content was to how it shifted, I was surprised personally. That was the big shocker. It wasn't I didn't believe in his ability. I was surprised that from how it was originally being produced to the switch up and how it went, I was genuinely like shocked by it. I'm like, oh wow, like we're doing a good job. Like, and I didn't think, me personally talking, I don't think I helped it, because in all honesty, when I was on that show, I had to play a certain role, right? Because I didn't want to go on and act like Giuseppe and I were equals in how we spoke about soccer, because we're not. Like, dude played for Man United, Villarreal, Fiorentina, Genoa, like the list goes on. Like, he scored a hat trick against Gianluigi Buffon in the Serie A against prime time Juventus, where you had Barzagli, Bonucci, and Chiellini. That's no joke of a team. So, like, to have that sort of respect and trust in that regard, I felt like while on it, I couldn't try to boast I was better than him, because I'm not. Like, it's not like I know more than him or anything in a certain way. It's just how I see the game and how he sees it different.
Completely different,
because I'm tactical and he sees the it factor.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's, if you're doing that same conversation on Matchweek, the power dynamic evens out a little more because you control the conversation.
Yeah.
Where it's his show and he's the celebrity. Not that that's a bad dynamic. It's just like, as you said, like, there is a lane that you have to maintain, and it's not necessarily the lane that you're used to always.
But it's also a lane that has to be maintained out of respect. Like,
Sure.
It's not like he's forcing me to be like, oh, you have to sound like an idiot. Like, no, that's not the case of it. It's like, I knew with the audience, I had to show that, like, not that it was a it was a charity, me being honest. I'm capable of
No,
both,
you're
but
just
it's
not
like,
the main focus.
I can't be the main focus. So like
You're-
what I would prime example, right, was towards the end of us working together. We were doing the Euros and we were breaking down the Switzerland lineup and how it went. When I spoke about it, I sort of had to sound inexperienced in what I saw, like whether it was like listing out formation, whatever, because I didn't want to make it seem like it was Giuseppe like, hey, this is what's going on. Ardi, you do all the work. Like I didn't want to make the fans seem like Giuseppe didn't know what he was talking about, which isn't the case. Like there's a reason why he's a director of football at Cosmos right now. I'm bringing them back. Like he's not like moronic when it comes to soccer. The dude knows his stuff. So for me, it was just a tough challenge of being able to balance like, hey, like I have the ability to speak at a technical level about soccer that you can as well, but I'm worried that the way how I speak about it will outshine you on your show, and it would feel borderline disrespectful, which is the last thing I'd ever want to do. Because, like, I told the story on his podcast. The first ever soccer game I watched was him debuting for Manchester United, subbing off Ruud van Nistelrooy. Like, that's a full circle story in my life. Which is one of many in the break of Matchweek, by the way, just to clarify. I think we also are missing a huge chunk of other. This episode could be 5 hours long.
No, 100%.
It really could.
But, within that, obviously the episode's going good, and then eventually that stopped. And in that time, you're still trying to balance, life and Match Week. And eventually, as we said, like, some things just had to take different priority. Why did that show ultimately end?
In all honesty, I was spiraling from the breakup. Like, as we were I was supposed to post the last episode that had gone out on the channel. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, and I was spiraling a bit because I was also doing my D license for U.S. Soccer at the time, and then trying to manage that. And then I had the high school season coming up, and then I had a whole bunch of stuff with the travel kids. A lot of the club kids were at high school soccer, and then I had to balance working at the restaurant, and then I had to balance my family life and helping people out. And I just felt like I was collapsing. I felt like the foundation broke. Like, first time in my life, delusional optimist Ardi didn't have an answer, which is why I think ultimately that relationship and show fell apart, because I felt like I let it down in a way. I felt like I couldn't keep up with the demand and rate that a show like that requires, right? Because you need to edit for full video. You have to edit for full audio. You have to edit for 6 to 7 clips and have maybe 3 to 4 of them approved to be posted, and so on and so forth, and then repeat, and it's tough. Which is also one of my big worries for this show. I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be, we release an episode.
So did you
do the work?
So did you ultimately walk away on your own terms, or?
I think it was sort of mutual in a way, because I think around that time, Cosmos were already calling for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the plan was already coming. So he's like, look, podcast is great. It's my hobby. And he called me out. He's like, look, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you handle it. I don't think you keep up right now. And I don't think it's because you're not capable of it. I think you have a lot going on. You're going through something that honestly he's never experienced in his life, because the woman he's married to, amazing woman, they've been together for a very, very long time. I don't think he's ever been through that type of heartache. Granted, he's been through his own struggles, but that type of heartache is not something that he's experienced frequently. But he still tried to understand in that regard. So it's like, look, you're trying to balance other stuff. You're trying to keep up. I have a really big opportunity coming up. I think it's just the best that we put it to the side. We shelf it. Maybe we can have someone else come in, and maybe, honestly, you still do it, because I think you and I work really well together. And it was crazy because there was a lot of comments on that show and the reels and everything where people were just shocked at how well him and I meshed when it came to doing it. And granted, it took a lot of work for me. I had to make sure that I did my job for his show to make sure that he looked the best, that I wasn't trying to be like, oh, look at me. You know what I mean? Like, I had to make sure, like, it's his show. I want him to look like the best guy on it.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Being the visionary that you are, the
Visionary.
control freak.
What am I, Seth Rollins right now?
No,
The visionary?
no, but it's like, you do have good ideas, right?
Yeah.
And when you set after those ideas, you'll ask for others' opinions, but it's more so just for comforting validation. Let's be brutally honest. You already know how you're going to attack it. You already know the idea. You are a control freak.
Why you gotta call me out, man? Why
So,
you gotta call me
do you even think that it's possible to be happy in a role? Not that you need to be the starlight. I don't think you need to be the star of anything. But I do think that you have to be involved with the planning, like very much in detail, so that you can feel comfortable. If something were to not go right, you can have a backup plan, because you very much live off of backup plans and having the next option available.
Well, for that show, I wrote the scripts, like, because I produced it. Like, I edited and produced it. So he had me write the scripts just to be like, hey, so, like, what's popping off soccer right now? Like, basically headlines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not like he wanted to be a headline show, but, like, he wanted to make sure that, because let's be real, he's played against a lot of these players. Some of them are still playing now. Sure. He knows the game well. He knows a lot of people very well. So it's like his input's actually very insightful. So it's like, okay, what headlines could benefit having the Pepito's hot take, right? And doing all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like I needed control. It's just I just needed to give him ideas, and I'll be able just to bounce off of him. Because I can go, because that's what I'm saying. I've been working on so long on being multifaceted in the conversation that no matter what direction you want to go, that's where I really don't need to be that control freak anymore, because in college it was different. In college, I can't predict how you, Steven, Demetrios, Dayon, Besmir, Thomas Gaffney, Luke Sirianni. I don't know how these guys are going to converse when it comes on the mic, because in person it's a different story. Sure, like we know how it's gonna be when it's just us, the boys, right? But on the mic, it's a whole different ball game. It's basically a tactical game of its own, which is why you sort of have to curate that script and curate the debates, the topics, and ways it has to go because of the sheer unpredictability of the other person next to you.
And with that unpredictability, of course, having me come and host.
Oh,
this,
yeah, Mr. Tornado himself. You know
I mean, listen, it's controlled chaos.
Yeah, well, we love controlled chaos. Let's be real. We love it.
You had all the options in the world. Why me?
Why you?
You could have given this host opportunity. You could have played this very safe. You could have called somebody and been like, hey, here's the script. They're going to stick to the T. But you gave me a script, I threw it out the window.
Yeah, you did. It was a bit rude. Because I just spent so much time like, all right, here's how we can architect to tell a really good story.
As far as I'm concerned.
But listen, it just felt like you were just like, yeah, your story you want to tell, just like, fuck you. You know what I mean? And it was like, it was like, wanka.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I've hit every part except one, and I will get to that.
I know you will.
I mean, I think I have hit it in my own way. I cannot just. I had to break down the shell of. I know that this is going to be the hardest episode for you. Yeah. Because this is.
I'm admitting my own faults. I'm admitting why I failed. Like, let's be real. Matchweek not continuing after college, not posting consistently, not being worked on, not being invested in is a failure on my part because I was too comfortable with everything else in life. I was too comfortable with the fact that, look, at the end of the day, doing a podcast and spending a lot of time on it means no money. And when you're at the ages we're at, it's a very big risk.
Dude, there's been a lot. I mean, there's so much stuff that people will never even realize that has happened. I mean, I got engaged 2 months ago.
Yeah.
2025 was literally the worst year of my life.
Yeah.
You know? And we'll get into that like another time. But, you know, those terrible moments you were also a part of, you know, like not that you did anything wrong.
No,
like we went through
together.
like everything, you know, like and there was a lot of losses, a lot of good people that aren't here anymore. Like, so it's like,
I mean, I think the best way to say it is just like
come back, right? Like this is going to be the hardest episode. And then of course, consistency. And we'll talk about that in a second. I just, you know, I was just curious why me and why right now to bring the show back.
I said it earlier. I want to win by any means necessary. I don't want an excuse anymore. I don't, because let's be real. 2025 was, I think, because I think 2024 was the harder year for me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, 2025 I think had two major events for me personally where it was rough, and honestly, they were right out of the first 2 months of the year. The rest of the year was sort of easy to manage, but first 2 months of the year out of the gate, bang bang. It felt like you just took two in a drive by. Yeah. Like it was hard. And So like 2024 was, I think, the more difficult year for me personally. 2025, I think, was the most mentally challenging year for me because I had to rebuild myself. I basically had to treat my brain like a machine, which is crazy to say, and it sounds like melodramatic, and it sounds like I'm some psycho. But like when you come from growing up with a learning disability, speech impediment, being the slower kid, learning how to use your disability to an advantage in having to keep up with conversation, it's like I basically have to treat my brain how I treat my PC. What parts are slowing it down? Why is there issues? Like, what is causing X, Y, and Z? What is, honestly, my friend Ty says is the best about soccer, but I apply it to life as well. Every time he tells me this, he's like, right now you're looking at the effects. What is the cause? Like, what is the root cause? And I honestly, again, I caught myself in a situation where it was all about everyone else but myself.
So now with the focus on yourself, right? And I'm still holding you to why you chose me for this
Oh
conversation.
no, I was getting to that point
go
after,
ahead.
but
Go ahead.
And I chose you because it's like, let's be real, you're gonna call me out. Like because like there's a few people I can rely on who will be a straight shooter, blunt, straightforward. You want to know why this isn't doing it? Because you're this, right? Because we've had this conversation numerous times about, hey, let's shoot the first episode. Oh, I really want to do it. Oh, but this is happening. Oh, I don't, not to. Like, it was either, I think it was meant to happen now. Because I think you and I are at a certain point where we see the trajectory of certain things. I won't explain what, who, when, where, or why, as if it's like an English class. No, I won't explain in detail, but I feel like we're both on the same page where, like I'm saying, it's like we have to win by any means necessary. Like we're getting to that point where the expiration date of maybe breaking in for our dream is going to expire. We're going to be, instead of the guys fresh out of college with all the brand new experience learned who could take over the block. And honestly, if you gave us a job right out the door, we would have tore the whole place apart and just rose through the ranks, no problem. We're at that point where we're going to be the expired milk on the shelf. They're going to throw us out in the back. And I want to be bought. I don't want to end up in the trash. I don't want to end up in the dumpster. I know it's funny, and it's like a really funny analogy. So it's stupid.
I'm laughing because of how real it is.
It is.
Like I get dude.
I'm not going to expire. I'm not going to give up. Like,
no.
Again, this all started when I spoke about how my dad told me, like, you have to do the thing you love. I'm not giving up. This past year of 2024 was different. It was a lot of managing stuff that was going on. Honestly, 2025 was just me being scared, and I'm tired. I'm really tired.
So with no longer, having that mindset, can we rely on a consistent schedule each week or bi-weekly?
I think there will be consistency, but I do have to balance a lot of stuff. Like, I think, honestly, I can't allow myself to compartmentalize and think one's more important than the other. One gets priority over the other. One is superior over the other. Like, I have to do a better way of being able to balance my life while still wanting to do the things I love. Because honestly, it got to a point where 2025 was the first year I wasn't playing Sunday League anymore.
Yep.
Wasn't doing the 77 leagues. Was only, in all sincerity, was only just coaching and working at Red Bulls. So like it was honestly, it was work intense, but it wasn't as intense as being in college, working 3 jobs, working in the radio station, getting a college degree, and being in a relationship at the same time. It wasn't as intense as that. It was just my brain. In 2025, it felt like my brain was just a factory reboot. Like, where it's like when you buy a brand new iPhone, yeah, they did the factory reset. It says, bonjour, hello, hola. Like, you're going through, you're entering in all the passcodes, you're figuring everything out. Phone's ready.
So for somebody that wants to reinvest in Matchweek as a listener, right?
Yeah.
What can you commit to them? What should they expect for episode length? And is it weekly or bi-weekly drops?
Honestly, what to expect is turn on notifications and you're going to find out. Like, honestly, I got plans. I got things that I don't want to say because I feel like if I say it, I'll jinx it. Only reason why I say that is because World Cup 2022, every result I said went the other way. I'm not taking that gamble with this show.
So-
not taking it.
But here's my thing, right?
I know,
Like,
no. So look,
why
look,
should people invest in Ardi Emini
No,
and Matchweek
they're
again?
going to, because the content we're going to release
Yep.
is going to be the best of the stuff that you liked and the best of the stuff you didn't even know you liked
Can
yet.
you promise to this audience right now, the next time there's a year hiatus, it's the show's not coming back, it's out of your hands type thing?
No.
It just might. It's whatever. Like, so you're telling me this is an open book. Wherever happens, happens.
Honestly, like, I can't sit here and lie to people and say, I'll do this weekly. I'll do this bi-weekly. Like, honestly, if the opportunity presents itself with maybe a guest I want to get,
Sure.
if the subject matter I want to talk about matters enough to me.
Yep.
And if there's a story that I believe really needs to be told.
I appreciate the honesty.
Like,
honestly.
on it, like, because
you could be selling me, the snake elixir right now, and just be
Yeah.
like, oh, we're gonna be dropping multiple times a week, and it's gonna be 30 minutes long every week. But it seems like when
The
you're
only thing-
moved, that's when it's coming.
here's the thing. The only thing I could guarantee right now
Yeah.
is we're going to do an episode of Man United and what is going on.
So
That is a guarantee. That is a guarantee because with Matchweek being gone, there were so many developments with
Sure.
the club. And I feel like there's been a crude misconception of what's happened that I need to make sure the story is told properly. I need to make sure that people aren't being not lied to, but sort of just taking everything at face value or just only reading the headline.
So
I just want to make
can we expect that with all stories moving forward?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's a guarantee. That's for sure. 100% not a doubt. I have to explain it with United because people are gonna think I'm just gonna spread propaganda. Like I get it, guys. Like I joke around sometimes, whatever. But in all sincerity, like there's gonna be a breakdown. Mental, emotional, who knows?
Well,
We're gonna find out.
I don't know. It seems like when it comes to Man United, I haven't been on the show in quite some time, but I've been right about them every single time. And
honestly,
they told me Ten
there's a-
Hag was the guy, and he's not the guy.
He got second place.
I know.
and then just crumbled from there.
Listen,
Yeah,
I don't know. I hope that you defend Ronaldo's name in good faith,
I will say
because
I
that's
think,
absolutely how you ended up
Yeah.
on my algorithm.
Yeah,
By the
yeah,
way,
yeah,
for
yeah,
anybody that
100%.
was wondering.
I will say the one thing we didn't talk about was December 2024. What was December 2024?
I'm gonna let you tell that one, my friend.
You just not remember?
No, I remember. I just
Okay,
think
I
it's
just wanna
better
make sure.
coming from you.
Okay, December 2024, I completed a lifelong dream.
Mhm.
And I did it with my dad, did it with my brother. We went to Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Like, we went and I saw one of Ruben Amorim's first games in charge. It was spectacular. I finally made it to the city of Manchester, where people are like, oh, it's just the northern UK. It's just Manny. Who cares? Where it's like, okay, cool. Like, it's where the club I've supported my whole life is. Like, I need to experience this culture. I need to be there and finally be able to argue against the people where it's like, oh, you're a plastic fan. You're not from this. You're not from this country. You're not from this club. How dare you? Like, because I deal with that. I genuinely do. And being able to go and do the stadium tour, I gotta tell the story. So with my dad and my brother, I think it's a day before the match or 2 days before the match, the stadium tour is available and there's only one ticket left for the day. My dad and brother like, look, we're going to the pub down the road by the stadium.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
You go
can
on
have
the
that.
tour.
We're gonna go
you
get us
enjoy
some
it. Take
brewski.
some pictures for us. Like, you look at the museum and then you tour the stadium. You're chilling. Like, all right, bet. So I go on the stadium tour, look through all the museum stuff, blah, blah, and then finally get to the tour. And then they take you like in this like elaborate labyrinth, like around the stadium to this peak. You're walking up these stairs. And then as soon as you get to the top of that peak, you see the sun just setting perfectly on the stadium. You see the pitch. You see the stands. And the first seat I saw, I sat down. They just continued walking forward towards the end of the railing and stuff, like stating like historical facts about, Old Trafford, older stadium, blah, blah. And I'm just bawling out in tears because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that finally I was there. Like, I saw the beauty. Like, the beauty I knew it had, the beauty I knew this club had, the beauty I knew the stadium had, the city had. Not city and Etihad. I want to clarify that. It might sound like that for a second because I mumble sometimes. But the things I knew this city had and the emotions, it just flooded. And then I called my grandfather because honestly, my grandfather's the only reason why I'm a Man United fan. Supported them in the 60s, 70s, blah, blah. And I'm on the FaceTime with him. And I turned the camera away. He's like, oh, look at the view. But I'm also just like crying in tears. I know my grandfather look at me like, say out, bro. Shit going around. He's about to like beat my ass and shit, dude. For me cry, you fucking bitch. Like, dude, like, no, I'm not taking that. Come on, Balkan and Albanian men, dude. We gotta show our masculine side. You know what I'm saying? You're not laughing, which is worrying me. That I'm not funny. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I really,
it's very much hysterical.
okay, I appreciate you not just trying to laugh over me. Thank you. I thought I was just not funny. I was really worried.
No, you're fine.
No, but it's like and also like it did suck he wasn't there, obviously. But the fact that I was able to experience that moment with him is amazing. It's awesome. It's a memory I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And just being able to do that, and then the game we watched, United win 4-0 against Everton. I watched Marcus Rashford's last goal for Man United. Joshua Zirkzee scoring his first 2 goals for the club. And then after the match, I'm going to where the players walk out. My brother's like, dude, like, what? Like, are you like a child, dude? Like, what? I'm like, dude, like, no, I'm sorry. I know I'm a 25-year-old man. I don't care at the time. I don't care. Like, dude, I've supported this club forever. I'm going to stand here, be like this 5-year-old child next to me, and geek out when I see Matthias de Ligt. I don't care. I really don't. I don't. And then I will say, Mazz passed by, tossed jersey. I caught the jersey, and the dad's trying to pull out of my hand, and I'm like, I could just yank this from you and drop you right now with ease. This is mine. And I see the little kid looking, and I'm just like, if that was me, I really hope that guy would give it to me.
Yeah.
So I just let it go. I'm like, here you go for your son.
What a good guy.
I regret it every day. No, I'm joking.
Listen,
I'm joking now.
And with that, right? Again, it's a dream fulfilled is so bittersweet because that moment, it's there, you lived it, it's gone, and it's a memory, right? Now, with all this that we've talked about, high highs, low lows, an entire journey, a whirlwind, and completely out of chronological order because that's how I like telling stories. What linear is meh. So
people are thinking it's gonna be like How I Met Your Mother, like, oh, we're gonna start from 2005.
No,
it's like,
but,
nope, we've actually jumped all over left, right, and center. It's
start
confusing.
This conversation of this show was a source of happiness.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
I would say it's a work in progress. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm sad. Like, I'm not sad, but I'm not like as joyous as a man can be. Like, if United had won today, maybe I would be happy, and I'd say yes, totally. But no, we're a mess, and the board's a mess, and everything's a mess. No, but like seriously, like I can't say that with full confidence because I'm working on it.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people are working on it right now, and especially like people like us. Like, for example, like you're engaged, you're gonna probably plan a wedding, but we're grinding for a dream. So it's like, how do we balance our dream of wanting to be a dad, having a wife, and being able to support for a family, but also just having the job we want because we know we're good at it. And we know, and honestly, I'll be cocky for you. And later on, I can say, I never actually said those words, so Ardi, so I'll take all the blame. But we're better than probably 99% of the people out there, in all honesty.
I'm going to let you have that one. But I will say this, the only way to conquer those things is to get after it. So I'm really glad to see you back here. I'm really glad to see you have a statement like that because I just think last year you just would not have been confident enough to say that.
No.
And I'm glad to see Ardi getting back to basics of
I've reset my
after
programming.
it.
The delusional optimism is back.
So all I have to say is, one, thank you for allowing me to come on here and talk with you. Thank you for giving me the keys to your baby on the first episode back. I mean, that had to take a lot. Thank you for the moments of joy that you've given us over the years and the quality coverage, and for just allowing me on this platform in general. I've had some of the greatest times on here, and I cannot wait to see what comes next. Now, listen, I know you have a message for the people, but guess what? You're going to have to wait for episode 2 because I've been waiting forever to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mazz on Matchweek.
You know what I do?
Don't forget to tell somebody you love them.
Wow, you took my tagline. Love it. By the way, you're all gonna be watching this in the intro of like I'm gonna tease the episode where it's like Mazz on Matchweek, where it's like what is gonna come right to the episode. There's gonna be maybe I'll even have an intro. Who knows?
Listen, I've been waiting to hit those 2 sentences
For so long.
But
tell me, does it feel good? Like
Fantastic.
being able to say like, make sure you tell somebody you love them is such a great message.
I mean, it's a really good message, but it's your message. I can't steal that. I can only steal it one time and one time
you
only.
can because I stole it from Tim Tatman.
I mean, listen, that's all right, but it is what it is. That's a great show. And I hope people really enjoyed this episode. But, buddy, I cannot wait to see what the future holds for you. I hope you stick with it. And I hope you find what you're looking for.
I hope so, too. Inshallah, bro. I hope so, too, man. I hope so, too. But,
hey,
yeah.
Stay tuned. Matchweek, the revitalized version, coming at you soon across all platforms, right? I think we're still on all platforms.
We're
right?
always on all platforms.
Still releasing on YouTube.
I've dropped money to make sure it stays on all platforms, even though I haven't posted that.
You got to show me the bills behind the
Please
scenes.
don't.
But listen,
my taxes.
hey,
don't look great,
listen,
so.
we'll be back next time. Oh, actually, Ardi will be back next time, and I'm sure that there's going to be an entire insane Man United breakdown. Make sure you check it out. Make sure you tell everybody that you love to check it out, even the people that you hate to check it out, because people should see this. I think it's important. And just remember, Portugal will get it done at the World Cup. That's the last thing I'm saying.
Oh, it's good. Oh, man. No, we're not saying anything else. We're gonna leave it there and.